Ruth White. I have been in content marketing, in some form of content marketing, for I think most of my career. I have spent all of my career in technology marketing with companies that are kind of known name brands. So I feel very lucky to have had that experience. Those companies are Cisco, VMware, NetApp. I spent some time at Accenture and Deloitte, and a managed service provider for cloud called SunGuard Availability Services for a little bit of time. And now I find myself at Snowflake. So I'm definitely really focused in the technology industry, but have had content marketing as an element of my job, I think, really throughout. I like so long ago, right? And it changes so much. I feel like now, and kind of moving forward, like I have always felt that content is a strategic function inside of marketing, because and especially true today, and probably moving forward in the future, we know that people like to self-service a lot versus engaging directly with sales reps kind of out of the gate, that they're doing a ton of research first before your company is ever put onto a list, right, that they want to investigate further. And so for me, I think about that probably every day, because content is the thing that people are going to come into contact first. And it basically, the value of that content to them is actually going to it will directly impact what they do from that point forward, right? Do they continue to engage with your content? Do they think that you have missed the mark, that you don't understand them, you don't understand their industry, and so you really have to think about that customer perspective throughout. I think, previously, 5-10 years ago, it was really more about SEO. A lot of companies started blogs for pure SEO purposes. I think blogs have now evolved into into their own right. They have become these destinations. You want your blog to be a valuable resource for every visitor, right? You want to see repeat visitors, because that's a good indication. You want to see, pretty solid dwell times on your blog. So I do think that it's evolved from like this SEO, like we just need to attract people, and then we're going to, hopefully get them to download a gated piece of content, so we get a little piece of information from them for us to further connect. There is still that aspect. But I think it's I truly believe that now we have to put the customer at the center of everything when we're creating content, and we have to think about what is their job to be done, like what are they actually asking for help with, and how can we actually help with that and serve up other content, right? And a lot of times this is today, and I think going forward, this content is not necessarily sitting on like your own properties either. It actually has to be elsewhere where these people are getting their information from. And there's been a ton of research on that now, that in terms of, the value of like a brand's site versus engaging with that brand somewhere else. It's a tiny little team actually here at Snowflake in content marketing. We work very cross-functionally. So essentially, we are the barometers of the quality. We are the owners of the content strategy. So within our marketing team, we have 8 workloads that, in the data cloud. We have 7 industries today. And so my team sort of mirrors that. So I have 3 people on the workload side of the house. They carry multiple workloads, right? And they're responsible for the content strategy and the development of that content that comes out of that strategy, for each of their workloads. On the industry side of the house, I have a person. And I cover 3, sometimes 4 of the industries myself still. So we have room to grow. But and likewise, we're responsible for the content strategy. We're responsible for creating the content. There are some things that we will push off to like other teams, but we are aware of them so that we can, over the life cycle of the content, we can kind of govern and manage it. So we're trying not to have like older content, externally. Our messaging has changed quite a lot, I think, over the last 3 years. And so we want to make sure that, we're cleaning the content, and keeping it up to date as much as possible. I do have a person who manages the blog, and I have a content operations person. We do use a content management system to help us with all of the, the development of the content, and, which is linked to like, our sales portal. So like all of the new content gets pushed to like our sales portal based upon tagging. Tagging is like, I think the bane of every content marketer's existence. You got to make sure your content's tagged properly, right? So we do use systems like that. Our process when we create content is we actually plan. So within our different like working groups for whatever workload or whatever industry, we do a planning. Out of that plan will come like, the content strategy, the specific individual pieces of content that we will create. And then we, the content marketing team basically is responsible for making sure all of that is reflected in our content management system. When we create an individual piece of content, we do work with, we have writers, contract writers, agencies that we will work with on the creation of that content. We do an awful lot of editing in this team. And we do have copy editors that are, sort of the second to last, sort of check. So they make sure that, we're following our style guide, and, things are being mentioned properly from a Snowflake perspective, that, that the grammar is correct. And, sometimes I will ask them to be involved earlier, on a more complicated piece of content. So we do a lot of developmental editing. And then everything goes through a legal review. And so we have a person in legal that works with us, and they make sure that we're not saying anything that we shouldn't say, and then we essentially move it into design. We work with external agencies. We have some internal designers as well, and so we'll get it through design, and then we will actually publish that and work with our demand gen team, our account-based marketing teams, our social media team on the promotion of that. I think that's an interesting development. And we have not done any of that here at Snowflake. We are people that are creating content for people, right? And I think that there are places where that might make sense. I did read this book a while back that I think it's called You Look Like a Thing and I Love You. And it's all about AI and how AI works, right? And there's some scary things in that book, actually, with the amount of sort of training that you have to give to your AI, right? Like you have to feed them a lot of information in order for them to actually function properly. And, and so I worry a little bit about using AI from a pure quality perspective on content. I think I would be really reluctant to just let an AI develop content and publish content without like a human touch somewhere in there, to make sure that it was actually relevant, that it will do the things that it needs to do, those kind of things. But I do feel like as we progress, maybe 10 years in the future, it could be faster, right? That we will see more AI being used. But I think being used in maybe more derivative content versus like the very robust kind of marquee assets. Yeah.